Do you think there's a way to make traveling more accessible to people? Because I know like that's how you started your channel, right?
Yeah.
You wanted people to
Yeah.
see the things that they're missing, like they cannot physically just go to all these countries, but the fact that you are able to, and the fact that you can go to so many places and like shoot and like explore the culture and
Yeah.
bring it to people. Sure, they can watch it on YouTube and like learn, but it's a different feeling being there
Yeah.
and seeing it through their own eyes. So
Yeah.
how do you think we can make it more accessible to people?
Well, I think one of the things is you have so many people now that go out and travel and make these videos, and there's the Instagram, TikTok version of travel, which is
Right,
not,
it's like
is not
too
realistic.
Glorified,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, you're like, believe me, you are never going to be alone on the Great Wall of China. I can tell you pictures I've seen where I was alone. I'm like, no, you weren't. There were like 3 million people right behind you. Like, this is the time lapse, so they disappear. Like, those things really get me. But yeah, to make travel more accessible, one thing people have to realize is you don't have to travel abroad to travel. Sometimes it's just exploring your own neighborhood. Like,
Right.
think about the things that are here. Like, in the fall, this is one of the best places to be because you've got, the Curtis Orchard, you got the reindeer ranch you can go to with the maze, which you may think, well, that's stupid. That's just something here. But you know what? Whenever we have friends visit, they want to go out to the Curtis Orchard. They want to do the reindeer, reindeer ranch, the corn maze out north of town. They're like, yeah, the Turkey Run. I mean, you don't have to, like, for example, myself, I didn't travel international. I studied abroad when I was 16, but before that, like my entire childhood, our vacation was going from Illinois to Ohio. And not like cool Ohio. We went to Toledo. Like, no offense, Toledo's fine. But we went to Cedar Point, which is, like Great America, the Six Flags amusement park, and then we came back. That's all we ever did my entire childhood. And then only after I studied abroad, then also I started traveling more. But it was like, we still went around. Like we would go, like we live in Quincy, which is on the other side of the state, and we go to Hannibal, we go to St. Louis, we go to Springfield, we go to Chicago. But it was like we would do doable things that we could do on the money that we had. And I think that's one of the things is some people think, well, travel can only mean it's really expensive and I can do that. But I tell my students, I'm like, look, if you're going to travel, when you're young, don't travel in the summer. Because who else travels in the summer? Everybody. So therefore, hotel prices are higher, airline prices are higher, lines are longer. Go in October, go in March, go in these other times, these shoulder seasons when you still have decent weather, things are open. And the thing is like going in January, you can go super cheap in January to fly, but lots of stuff's closed. And it's hard to enjoy, France when you can't feel your fingers, because you're so cold. It's like you find those shoulder seasons, you can save so much money. And I've priced it out. Like I used to go to Ireland in the fall for $450. If you want to take that same trip in the summer, it's like $1,500. I mean, and another thing I think people need to realize is sometimes you want to look at, like, always kind of look at a range of dates. Don't be hard set. Like, I get off on Friday, so we're leaving Friday right after work. I'm like, well, why don't you leaving on Sunday? It might be cheaper. Like sometimes it's literally hundreds of dollars difference, just one day difference here and there. Like, for example, if you're gonna fly around Thanksgiving, if you fly on Thanksgiving Day, the prices are way cheaper flying on Thanksgiving Day than the day before the day or that Sunday afterwards because it spikes up. So when I used to travel around, this is the first Thanksgiving I haven't traveled since I was probably your age, honestly. No, I traveled then too. So since I was in high school. But this year we didn't because kids came home kids get older, then you had the kids are coming home for Thanksgiving. So we had that, but it would be like we leave on that Sunday before, and then we'd come back on the Monday after Thanksgiving. And it would be $400 difference. And with 4 people in your family, there's $1,600. There's my entire week of hotels paid for just because I stayed one more day. And so sometimes you play around with those things. And what's cool is with technology today, you have all these different websites, kayak.com, Skyscanner, that will give you an idea, hey, you know what, today's not a good day to buy. Like those days, why don't you look on that Thursday? And they'll tell you these are better prices, so you can look around. So being flexible makes a big difference.
Right.
So.
We always travel in, back when I lived in Venezuela, like Europe, like New York. It was always cheaper October and March. And because my mom didn't, she had her own company or whatever. She didn't have to a job order, so we could just October and April, March. It was great.
It was great, yeah. And I mean, literally, you're paying for a whole free, almost a free month sometimes if you had a big family. I mean, it's unbelievable the price differences. So
even in the US, if you want to go to Disney or something, if you go in November, I went to last November.
Yeah.
I just went and I finished Universal and Island Adventure in I don't know 2 hours, 1 hour each, and I would repeat and there's no one there.
Yeah. But then people will go like, well, we can't take the kids out of school, so we're going to go during Christmas, New Year's, which is the busiest week. I have some family that are going there. I'm like, why are you going Christmas Day through? I'm like, that is like the worst time to go there because it's so full. They're like, well, that's where we wanted to go. I'm like, okay, have fun. We will not be joining you.
It's so hard to have fun when it's like packed and like.
Yeah.
Then it's like more about waiting than.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing is because I've taken my kids to Disney. Thank goodness they did not like it, so we never had to go back.
Did they not like it?
No, they were not because they went to Universal and they're like, oh, cool rides, people we knew, like, and then they went to Disney and they liked Frontierland because it was like the old fashioned rides. They went to like Tomorrowland and stuff. They're like, this is lame. Like we don't, and they were little too. They were like 3 and like 8.
Wow.
They're like. So we actually, I'm like, oh, you got like we got in early because we stayed on property. So we got an hour early. So we got all the stuff, used our fast passes and stuff, and it was like a parade at like 3 or something. And they're like, can we go back to the hotel and go on the slides? I'm like, you want to go back to the hotel so I don't have to spend like $50 per person to eat and for dinner? Sure. So we go back and they had more fun because we were all alone by ourselves at the giraffes are over here because we're at like Wild Kingdom. The giraffes are over here. The kids are going down the slide. And I'm like, this is perfect. Nobody's in line for the food. So it actually worked out quite well. But yeah, Disney's not my jam. But one thing is with travel, because it is expensive, there are, like, if you go to Disney, you'll see people that are kind of upset. They're like, we're spending so much money, so everyone has to have a good time. And that's one of those things. If you go and it's like you're spending that much money on it, sometimes like just enjoy yourself. Don't focus on the price because you know it's going to be insane expensive. Focus on enjoying it because then you're like, if you spend a lot, but it was fun, you're not as upset. Because some people be upset, if they get your order wrong at McDonald's. Because, but it was only $1. They messed up your cheeseburger. It was $1. But I was so upset by that. I'm like, dude, let it go. Sometimes you got to let it go. Just enjoy the moment and it goes a lot farther. So, because I still remember there was parents that were having a really tough time when I was there. I was like, I felt really sorry for them because they were so upset, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, man.